Hi, my name is Carl Shepard, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to share a shocking revelation with you. If you've ever watched one of those end-of-the-world type movies, then you must have seen what an empty supermarket shelf looks like. And if you're one of the many unfortunate people who are affected by a disaster of some kind, you've probably seen it in person. Now, I'm not saying that the world is going to get run over by zombies or that a deadly virus is going to cause chaos and panic, but localized catastrophe scenarios happen around the world all the time, and it's only a matter of time before an unexpected natural disaster like drought, hurricane, flood, or blizzard comes your way. We hear about them every day. The year 2011 has been dubbed as the extreme and exhausting year for the United States when it comes to natural disasters. From severe storms in Vermont, New Hampshire, or Massachusetts, earthquakes in Washington, D.C. and Virginia, to fires in Nevada and California, or Hurricane Irene that affected more than 20 U.S. states. In 2011 alone, FEMA has issued 93 disaster warnings in 1 year. In 2011, the United States were hit by top 10 weather catastrophes that cost us more than $1 billion. According to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, total weather losses exceeded $35 billion in 2011. And that's not counting Hurricane Irene or the epic storm that hit the west coast of Alaska and reached the strength of a Category 3 hurricane, leaving widespread damage. So when we're not affected by floods, droughts, or blizzards like the one that crippled the Midwest and Northeast, we get earthquakes, wildfires, and tornadoes. And all these disasters have had an unfavorable effect on the economy and the rise of food price. When looking at FEMA's list of declared disasters by year, one thing that stands out is the sure and steep rise of natural disasters. From 59 in 2009 to 93 in 2011, almost 1.5 times more. Blame it on bad luck, blame it on global warming, blame it on whatever you like. The fact is that these natural incidences happen every day. And according to experts, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. It doesn't even have to be a natural disaster that prevents you from putting food on the table, because in times of economic uncertainty, like the one we're in now, civil disasters are a constant looming danger that we all live with, day in and day out. Already, the U.S. is affected by shockingly high food prices, and are going higher every day and expected to skyrocket by the end of the year. We are already importing more than 1/3 of our food. And with the world economy as it is, meaning in economic turmoil, the price of imported goods have reached its all-time high. And when I say imported food, I don't mean the off-the-shelf, ready-to-eat products. I'm talking about grains, sugar, coffee, and the raw foods that are used to produce the items you find in supermarket shelves. Add the rising production cost to an already high import price, and you'll get an outrageous amount. And we pay for that every day. However, if you think our troubles stop there, you're wrong, because there is one more thing that makes food crisis a sure bet. The threat doesn't even have to be real. You'll probably think that I'm kidding or trying to scare you enough so that you'll take action, and some part of me would like that to be the case. Unfortunately, it's not. Even if the natural disasters or economic crisis doesn't affect you, another thing might. I'm talking about the end of the world predictions. Though these apocalypse-type scenarios are highly unlikely, they can affect our normal way of life and threaten the safety and health of your family. When people hear news about an impending threat, they tend to get into a frenzied mode and start preparing for the worst-case scenario by running to the nearest supermarket and stockpiling essentials. Even though at first no one really believes something like Armageddon actually is happening, 1 or 2 days before the predicted end of the world day, panic starts to consume everyone. That's just how the human psyche works, and no one can do anything about it. Remember Harold Camping's May 21st, 2011 prediction? No one believed it then, no one even took him seriously. However, on May 21st, in some places more than others, people decided to prepare for the worst and emptied out the supermarkets in their neighborhoods. Another highly publicized approaching apocalypse is scheduled for December 2012. People who believe in predictions of this sort have already begun preparing. And so should you. I'm not saying you should prepare because you believe in the end of the world, but what I'm saying is that you should prepare for December's panic that is going to break out as the date gets closer. If you don't, you'll be one of those people who stare at empty supermarket shelves with disbelief and shock. Before we move on, just let me explain to you why this happens and hopefully show you how you can spot the possible end of the world and normal way of life threats. When the media, TV, radio, papers, or internet announces a disaster warning, natural or end of the world prediction, the first thing that disappears and becomes pricey and rare commodity is food. In those types of situations, people are ready to run and step over just about anyone in order to get that last piece of bread or gallon of water. With everyone rushing to the same store to get as much food as they can, it takes virtually seconds to empty the biggest supermarket. And by the time you get to the store, the chances are that all the food has vanished off the shelves. Now, here's the tricky part. Though it takes minutes for a frenzied mob to clear out all the food in a store, it takes the supermarket days, and in some cases, weeks to fill them back again. So what would happen if a natural or civil disaster changed our normal way of life? What would happen if the people around you went into a frenzy mode and you're forced to fight over food so that you could feed your family? If you still think that there's no chance of a food shortage hitting the U.S., just think about the food rationing during World War II and economic turmoil of the Great Depression, which forced millions below the poverty line, and apply them to today, when the whole world is in a constant state of financial difficulties. Unfortunately, the unavoidable truth is that 90% of Americans are not prepared for the inevitable food shortage in an emergency situation. We are a nation used to indulging our desires and easily satisfying our daily biological needs. If you're hungry, thirsty, or in pain, you just go to the store and pick up whatever you need. What I'm offering you is a step-by-step preparation guide that will detail all the essentials you will need in order for you and your family to safely and healthily come out of a possible disastrous event. I'm offering you the solution of how not to be one of those Americans who didn't think ahead. If you have given any thought to survival, you know that food and water are the foundation of any good survival plan. If you prepare to provide these two items for yourself and loved ones, you are farther ahead than probably 90% of the public. Knowing food and water form the base of successfully enduring and preserving in times of crisis is a good start. However, if you don't know which food to get, or even worse, if you do buy the proper food and don't store it properly, it would be as if you hadn't done anything at all to protect your family. That's why after months of research, I've compiled an extensive yet simple food crisis survival guide in which you'll find all you need to care for your family's nutrition needs during an emergency. Now, think about the next two scenarios. Number one, you've decided on your food shortage survival plan. You went to the supermarket and bought all the food your family will need for enduring a prolonged period of a food crisis. You've stored them away, but when the time came, you discovered that most of your food is inedible. Virtually anything can ruin the food you stored. Sun, rain, humidity, cold, or heat. Imagine the frustration you'll be faced with when you realize that your food has been eaten by bugs or rodents, or that it has gone bad because of a flaw in packaging. Not knowing how to properly store food is a common mistake people make. Number two, although you decided to prepare yourself for the imminent danger of a food shortage, you went to the store without planning out the meals for you and your family, and you bought all kinds of food with a long shelf life, but you haven't taken their nutritional values into equation, and you ended up buying dead food, meaning food with no nutritional value at all, and you're forced to watch your family get sick with malnutrition, nausea, or diarrhea. Believe it or not, more than 50% of people make that mistake. The main reason behind that mistake is that, as a nation, we do not put much thought into what we eat. And although that way of thinking causes obesity and other health-related issues, we can usually get away with that because in a normal situation, when your body and mind are not under an overwhelming amount of stress and when we have a variety of food available, we get the bare minimum of nutrients into our system. But what happens when you cannot go to the store, when the store is empty and all you have at home is dead food? Your body suffers and you get seriously ill. The worst possible scenario is the combination of the former two. Let's, for an example, take those completely self-contained meals used by the military, referred to as the MREs. You might choose to depend your family's food crisis survival plan on them. And don't get me wrong, when there's no alternative, MREs will keep you fed. However, there is an ugly truth about them that very few people know. And even if we disregard the high price of MREs, they are bland, bulky, low in fiber, and high in sodium and fats. They are dead food that is packaged in a retort aluminum packaging, which has been associated with Alzheimer's disease. Now, even if you disregard the danger of retort aluminum packaging, you would think that this type of food has very long shelf life. Not the case. The packaging is easily damaged by either cold or heat, leaving the meal useless and extremely dangerous to consume. So, if you for any reason choose to base your survival plans on MREs, make sure they are fresh and not from an older stock. Another problem with MREs is that because they are low in fiber, they will make you constipated and quite sick in the long run. It is shocking how many people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on these MREs only to find out what a bad and dangerous alternative they are. Why risk the health of your family and cause them to be malnourished when you could ensure their well-being by following some simple steps in your survival plans? Fortunately, there is a simple, cost-effective solution to this. In my Food Crisis Survival Guide, you're going to discover how to avoid the worst-case scenarios in a worst-case scenario. You're going to discover the #1 rule of stockpiling, and I'll show you why all other stockpiling recipes are wrong. You will learn how to easily make your own low-cost strategy, and you will discover just what foods are the most nutritious and long-lasting. In addition, the Food Crisis Survival Guide also holds the secret how to cook nutrient-rich meals for your entire family all through the food shortage. This complete systematic program has been created to give you all the information you need to survive a looming crisis and the food shortage disaster it carries. Do not allow yourself to be among the many that will be forced to watch their loved ones suffer or lose their health and lives. Keep watching because I'm going to show you how you can guide your family through one of the greatest ordeals people are forced to endure. Because I know that the time we live in is hard on many Americans who are forced to economize, I've paid special attention to devising simple, low-cost solutions to surviving a food shortage. In the Food Crisis Survival Guide, you'll see where and when to get the best survival food deals. The plans I'm detailing are guaranteed not to put a strain in your home budget. And with only $10 to $15 per week, you'll also be able to ensure the health of your loved ones. Before we move on, just let me go over the list of things you'll find in the Food Crisis Survival Guide. Common mistakes that you'll need to avoid, and which ones will not only leave you with nothing to eat, but which also may put your family's lives in danger. How to plan out how much food you'll need for your family per week, and how to provide enough of it without any risk to your home budget. A list of essential items you'll need to provide for in an evacuation, and how to turn them into an easy-to-carry lightweight package. What measures to take when stockpiling, and how to ensure the longevity of your food. Simple tricks, how to protect your food supply and protect yourself and your family from looters. What to do if the crisis persists and you have consumed all of your food supplies. What not to eat when you're out of canned food and bottled water. Special considerations when planning the survival strategy of your family. Special dietary rules to be considered when planning the food intake of babies, children, and elderly persons during a food shortage. Most important of all, you will get a complete list of items you cannot survive a food shortage without. The items on this list are the first to disappear from the supermarkets when disaster strikes. And making sure you have them in time is what makes a life and death difference for you and your family. Even though the guide gives you everything you need in order to survive a food crisis, you still have 3 major problems threatening your chances of survival. If you try the guide today, you'll also get 3 bonuses that will make all these problems disappear. The first thing to stop working in a disaster is electricity. Electricity is also the last thing to be restored. Imagine having all the food you need but not being able to use it because you have no electricity. Off-Grid Power Backup Guide will show you how to make your own solar generator without breaking the bank or being an engineer. In addition, You'll also learn how to make your own wind generator so that you'll be able to have power even when it's dark outside. Food is important, but there's one other thing more important and vital to your family's survival in time of crisis: water. Bottled water is the first thing to disappear from the shelves, and drinking tap water, especially during floods, is risky. You might have prepared enough water to last you for 2 weeks, but what will you do if the crisis lasts longer than that? That's why I'm including a self-help guidebook on water purification. This do-it-yourself water purification instruction book is going to provide you with information on a simple solution that will enable you to have clean, fresh drinking water for as long as you need. With the help of this guide, you'll be able to construct your own professional water purification system with a couple of dollars. Although canned food is a lifesaver during a disaster that caused a food shortage, unfortunately, it will not provide you with all the nutrients your body needs. In my Food Garden Survival Plans, I'll show you how to plan your garden according to your own specific needs and available space. The plans included will guide you to creating your perfect self-sufficient garden. If you want to get these 3 special reports for free, you need to grab your copy of Food Crisis Survival today. Now, you're probably wondering how much this is going to cost you. When you order the Food Crisis Survival Guide, you get the Off-Grid Power Backup Guide, DIY Water Purification Instruction Book, and Survival Food Garden Plans as a completely free bonus. You get all of this, not for some outrageous price like $199, which is what some of these unhealthy MRE packages sell for, but for just $39.97 for the whole package. This is a massive 59% off the original price of $67. To get you started right now, just click the Add to Cart button that you see below this video. If you want to know how to protect your family from starving in a food crisis, if you want to know how to have emergency power without spending thousands of dollars, if you want to ensure the safety and well-being of your family, grab a copy of the Food Crisis Survival Guide right now. Because the offer I'm presenting you with has a 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. And if after 60 days upon ordering the Food Crisis Survival Guide, you decide that it's not for you and that you would rather take your chances another way, just contact me for a quick and easy refund. Not only that, you can even keep the Survival Guide and all of the bonus products just for trying. The bottom line is that any disaster, however big or small, real or unlikely, could force you and your family to go weeks without food and without any means of getting some. That is why it's important to be prepared. Take the future of your family into your hands and do not rely on the authorities to come to your rescue. Don't wait to be forced into action. Simply click the Add to Cart button below this video to get started and take advantage of the discounted price of $39.97. Click the button right now, and I will see you on the next page.